And now, it's time for another newscast from the past. Today's episode, Later Battles of the Civil War. In the interest of saving time, I've chosen 3 battles to show you, so sit back and enjoy. The first battle was the Second Battle of Charleston Harbor. Major General Quincy Adams Gilmore had tried to take the Confederate Fort Wagner, manned by General Beauregard, twice by blitzkrieg, but he hadn't succeeded either time, so in the summer of 1863, he decided to lay siege. Fort Wagner was situated on a small patch of land called Morris Island in South Carolina. The Union troops had cannons firing on the fort, and at the same time, set up a battery to shoot into the nearby Confederate city of Charleston, the city for which the battle is named. The battery, called Swamp Angel because of the swampy terrain, fired 35 shells into Charleston, but the gun exploded on the 36th shot. It bought the Union the time they needed, though, distracting the Confederates while the Union got their big guns into place. On September 5th of 1863, Union General Gilmore began a 36-hour heavy bombardment of Fort Wagner, reducing the Confederate garrison to just 400 fighting men. On the night of September 6th, the Confederate troops escaped somehow. They were on an island, so it seems like that would be really difficult, but they managed it somehow. The second battle was the First Battle of Fort Fisher. Fort Fisher was the last Confederate fort on the Atlantic Ocean, just off the coast of North Carolina. If the Union was able to capture this fort, it would strengthen their blockade a lot because they would be able to watch trade coming from anywhere in the area. The fort was manned by Confederate Colonel William Lamb. The Union Army officer, Benjamin Butler, commenced his attack December 7th, 1864. However, he communicated very poorly with his Navy allies, leading to several botched attacks that resulted in significant Union losses. Butler ended up pulling back 20 days after the attack started, which would be December 27th, despite Commander Grant's direct orders to lay siege for as long as necessary to capture the fort. The third and final battle was the Siege of Tubac. Now, this one actually didn't involve the Union at all. It was an ongoing conflict between the western border of the Confederate States and the natives that lived in the area, collectively known as the Apache Wars. In early August of an unknown year, sometime later in the war, a force of over 200 Native Americans marched on the Confederate city of Tubac, Arizona. They were very lucky. Their town happened to have a fort that they could fight from, and that allowed them to protect their women and children and gave them a good defense. And using it, they were able to beat off the invaders for 3 days by themselves. However, on the third day, they decided to send a messenger to the nearby city of Tucson. He returned with Confederate General Granville Henderson Orry, and he came with 25 militiamen and beat the natives away from the town. The natives then took up posts around the city to prevent any escape. Eventually, low on food and supplies, General Granville and the villagers were forced to make a mad dash for freedom, breaking through the native lines and leaving the city itself to be looted. And that's it.